Shabbat Shalom. Welcome once again to the Holy Convention of NCCI that Yahweh Elohim has seen fit to grace us with here in Atlanta. Truly, many people have desired to know the things that you know and have not known them. But see, we didn't have anything to do with that. That was Yahweh's choosing, and it's marvelous in our eyes simply because of the fact that we all know the type lives that we've lived on this earth. And we know what we deserve, and what we deserve is really nothing. And I got the wrong notes here. But, right. Have you out there parking cars next week. But, let us always find time to give the thanks and glory to the God of Israel that he's seen fit to bring us together, to unite us as a family, because truly, before we came to NCCI, we had no idea of family. Mm-hmm. We thought that family was somewhere in Africa, anywhere.
Right.
And
you're right,
when you look right at it, that's just what it was, anywhere in Africa. We can't go back and say Africa's a big continent. And we can't go back and say, well, we can't. The only thing we can say is we came from the west coast of Africa. But then, as time come down to our deliverance, Yahweh began to send priests into his vineyard to gather the fruit thereof, so that when the Messiah comes, he can choose from the harvest that has been gathered. And he'll gather the sheep in his arms, and the chaff he will surely throw away. And we have an opportunity not to be chased. So let us think on these things as we read this book, and as we meditate on the true and living God, because truly, God is consuming fire, and one of these days, we're going to all stand before the judgment seat of Yahshua HaMashiach to give every man according as his works has been.
What is this new kick, this new thing they're on about sending our students over to Johannesburg? I mean, what's with that?
I don't know. I haven't the foggiest idea. They've been sending niggas around the world for the longest, brother. I don't know what they're up into, man. I haven't even paid any attention. What I've been paying attention to is this New World Order. And something that's going to have effect on us as people. As far as what they're doing with a few of our students, if the students knew what I knew, they staff them over there. See, but they don't. They're caught up into the system of things, and they think that they're making things better for themselves. Oh, they're sending us over Africa, child, right? And hope can't get back. But Brother Steve, read the offers of the church and invite him who stands at the door, that he may come in and sup with us and us with him, that we may continue to read out of this great legacy. Consider what we read, because Yahweh is one day going to judge us according to these things.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. I'm going to read the oracles of the church, beginning at 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man have received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as to the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim giveth, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua HaMashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed unto the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim, for the anointed one's sake, have forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim as dear children, and walk in love, as the anointed one also have loved us, and have given us an offering and a sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness, let it not be one's name among you, as becometh saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks.
Amen.
Revelation chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him, and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcometh will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame, and am set down with my Father in his throne. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the church.
Amen. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the church in holy convention. I'd like to start our class today in the book of Numbers chapter 16, and pick that up at verse 1. Numbers chapter 16 and verse 1.
Verse 1. Now Korah, the son of Issachar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men, and they rose up before Moshe with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown, and they gathered themselves together against Moshe and against Aaron, and said unto them, You take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and Yahweh is among them. Why then lift you up yourselves above the congregation of Yahweh? And when Moshe heard it, he fell upon his face. And Moshe spoke unto Korah and unto all his company, saying, Even tomorrow Yahweh will show who are his and who is holy.
Amen.
And will cause him to come near unto him, even him whom he hath chosen will he cause to come near unto him. This do, take you censers, Korah and all his company, and put fire therein, and put incense in them before Yahweh tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom Yahweh does choose, he shall be holy. You take too much upon you, you sons of Levi. And Moshe said unto Korah, Hear, I pray you, you sons of Levi. Does it seem but a small thing unto you that the Elohim of Israel have separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near to himself to do the service of the tabernacle of Yahweh and to stand before the congregation to minister unto them? And he hath brought you near to him, and all your brethren, the sons of Levi, with you. And do you seek the priesthood also?
Now Yahweh has chosen you, see, and brought you into position. Now you're going to seek the priesthood? Go ahead, bro.
Verse 11.
Not you, have you been put into the priesthood, will you seek the priesthood? Go ahead, bro.
Verse 11. For which cause both you and all your company are gathered together against Yahweh. And what is Aaron, that you murmur against him? And Moshe sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, which said, We will not come up.
We ain't coming. See? They came up and talked all that junk, but now when you send for them, what do you say? We ain't coming. We ain't got nothing to do with that mess. Now, we going to hang out here. We going to do what we want to do, right? Go ahead, boss.
Verse 13. Is it a small thing that you have brought us up out of a land that floweth with milk and honey, to kill us in the wilderness, except you make yourself altogether a prince over us? Moreover, you have not brought us into a land that floweth with milk and honey, or given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Will you put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up. And Moshe was very angry and said unto Yahweh, Don't you respect their offering? I have not taken one ass from them, neither have I hurt one of them. Moshe said unto Korah, be you and all your company before Yahweh, you and they and Aaron tomorrow. And take every man his censer and put incense in them, and bring you before Yahweh every man his censer, 250 censers. You also and Aaron, each of you his censer. And they took every man his censer and put fire in them, and laid incense thereon, and stood in the door of the tabernacle of the congregation with Moshe and Aaron. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the glory of Yahweh appeared unto all the congregation. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe and Aaron, saying, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. And they fell upon their faces and said, O Yah, the Elohim of spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and will you be angry with all the congregation?
Someone has always got to stand in the breach between God and man. It always has happened, and it always will happen. See, when you get back, when Yahweh first started to deal with our people, when he called Abraham, Abraham was the one that stood in the breach between mankind and Yahweh. And then it was Isaac. And then it was Jacob. Then it was the 12 tribes. Then Yahweh called his people up out of Egypt, and he set things in order the way that he wanted things in order, and he put someone there to stand in the breach. You know why? Someone to bear the sins for the congregation. See, this is why I tell folks, watch what you do. Watch what you do, because somebody's got to carry that sin. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 23. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying, speak unto the congregation, saying, get you up from about the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And Moshe rose up and went unto Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And Moshe spoke unto the congregation, saying, depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest you be consumed in all their sins. So they got up from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram on every side, and Dathan and Abiram came out and stood in the door of their tent, and their wives, and their sons, and their little children.
Right. You ain't coming up. You're going to stand out here in the door of my tent. So, okay, well, I'm coming to you then. I'm coming to you for a purpose, so see. You want to play games, you're going to see how far your sin will go. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 28. And Moshe said, hereby you shall know that Yahweh hath sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of mine own mind.
Amen.
If these men die the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then Yahweh have not sent me. But if Yahweh make a new thing, and the earth open her mouth and swallow them up with all that appertain unto them, and they go down quick into the pit, then you shall understand that these men have provoked Yahweh. And it came to pass, as he had made an end of speaking all these words, that the ground cleaved asunder that was under them. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up and their houses, and all the men that appertain to Korah, and all their goods. They and all that appertain to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. And all Israel that were round about them fled at the cry of them, for they said, lest the earth swallow us up also.
You know why they fled? Because they knew what was in their heart. See, they knew the rebellion that they had went through from the time that they came up out of Egypt. Every man knows what's in his own closet. Go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 35. And there came out a fire from Yahweh and consumed the 250 men that offered incense.
Okay, my brother. These things confirm that the mighty I am of all generations has always been among men of his choosing. And the Spirit still has the same purpose of leading Yahweh's chosen to the promise that Yahweh made. But there have been always people that were made holy, that rebel against those put in position by the Spirit. Yet vengeance and mercy belong to Yahweh. and to show you that Yahweh is still in the process of leading man to the promised land, let's go in Ezekiel 37. Let's go in Ezekiel 37. See, these things, the things that we deal with, disprove the things that the churches are talking about. See? They talk that yin-yang, but they can't prove it. And the scripture says, prove all things. And we go to church and we listen to a couple of verses and somebody talk for 45 minutes and we go home satisfied. Not knowing. I heard young folks that has been going to church, and you know why they stopped going? So I ain't learning nothing. I've been going this since I was a little baby. And I ain't learned nothing yet. Right. Ezekiel 37, and pick this up at once. What do you expect to learn in Satan's house? Ezekiel 37, and pick that up at verse 1. That's all it is, brother. A bunch of junk. Satan sends people out in the streets, man, and they're corralling folks, man, tooth and nail. I mean, these whole houses are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And what happens? The people don't know nothing. The people, you know why they take dead people in the church? Because they're dead to them.
Mm-hmm. You know, our people got so much off into the system. Basically, the reason why they're going to these churches is hope for prosperity, right? Mm-hmm. Prosperity.
Mm-hmm. That's all it is. That's all it is. Listen to Creflo Dollar sometimes.
Yeah, they had an article in the paper about him giving $100,000 to the youth.
Ain't that something?
And they were saying, well, that's money that they were given by people already. They're not doing anything.
He hasn't done anything. That money came through the church, right?
Right.
And he is not supposed to put his hand in that money, you see, because number one, the money is gotten illegally. They tell people, say, to show you how stupid people are. They tell, well, I won't say stupid. I'll say to show you how lost people are. That's a better word. Forgive me for calling these people stupid. But they are stupid. To show you how stupid they are, a man will tell you, we're not under the law, we're under grace. But they go back in the law book, and they'll tell you, and pull out 10%. Then they'll tell you, say, well, we ain't living under the Old Testament. We living under the New Testament. Then they go to Malachi 3 and 8. Bring all the tithes in the storehouse and see if I won't pour out you a blessing that you won't be able to receive. Right, they dying dead.
As I was saying, I share with some of my coworkers the fact that I have cancer. And all of them are Christian, of course. And they come out praying for me. I be saying, please don't pray for me. See, I don't know which one of these gods you praying to.
That's what I tell them.
They just had Valentine. I don't know. They could have been praying to Cupid.
Right. No. Don't. That's right. Don't pray. Don't pray for me. Just go on about your business. Yeah. Yahweh take his business. Take care of his business. If he want me to die, I'm going to die. If he want to save me, he's going to save me. But don't you get it. Ezekiel 37. Pick this up at verse 1.
The hand of Yahweh was upon me and carried me out in the spirit of Yahweh and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones, and caused me to pass by them round about. And behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Adonai Elohim, you know. Again he said unto me, Prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O you dry bones, hear the word of Yahweh.
The Messiah said there's going to come a time when all that in the grave shall hear the voice of the Son of God and shall come alive. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 5. Thus saith Adonai Elohim unto these bones, Behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and you shall live. And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and you shall live. And you shall know that I am Yahweh.
Sound like the creation of Adam, doesn't it? Go ahead, brother.
So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise, and behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to his bone. And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came up upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. Then said he unto me, Prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, Thus says Adonai Elohim, Come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these flames, that they may live.
Then
So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived and stood up upon their feet, an exceeding great army. Then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say, our bones are dried, and our hope is lost. We are cut off for our part.
Glory and honor to the Jew first, right? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 12. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, Thus says Adonai Elohim, Behold, O my people.
Not all the nation. Behold, O my people, right? He told our folks, said, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. We were raised up to teach the nations how to live because Yahweh just didn't deal with man. He had brought flood upon man, and Yahweh didn't deal with man. So what he did was he put emissaries between him and man. And the emissaries were supposed to go and teach the nation how to live upon this earth. And what did we decide to do? The same doggone thing we do today. We follow Mike. See, we like what Charlie does. See, we like going buying candy, heart-shaped candy, those Valentines, big old Valentine cards this big, man. We love doing that, see. And what's that all about? That's all about Cupid. This little white baby is flying around with an arrow that's finding your woman to shoot an arrow into her heart so she'll fall in love with you. If that's what's going to happen, I don't want it. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 12. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, Thus says Adonai Elohim, Behold, O my people, I will open your grave and cause you to come up out of your grave and bring you into the land of Israel.
Now, that ain't what Christians say now. Christians say they're going to meet the Lord in the air, and they're going to forever be with the Lord. They're going up to Never Land, right? It says here, O my people, I'm going to open your grave and bring you back to the land of Israel. Amen. Go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 13. And you shall know that I am Yahweh when I have opened your grave, O my people, and brought you up out of your grave, and shall put my spirit in you, and you shall live, and I shall place you in your own land. Then shall you know that I, Yahweh, have spoken it and performed it, says Yahweh.
Once he put that spirit in you, once he raised you up and put that spirit in you, you have eternal life. Ain't no doubt about it. See, the Messiah, when he was resurrected from the dead, he returned to his apostles. He said, touch me, feel me, it's I myself. Spirits do not have flesh and bone as you see me have, right? Man, these Christians say they're going to be spirits. Don't you? Okay. But then they're going to be more than the Messiah was, aren't they? Yeah, right. Go ahead and read.
Yes, sir. Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 15. The word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Yehudah and for the children of Israel his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for yourself the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel his companions, and join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in your hand. And when the children of your people shall speak unto you, saying, Will you not show us what you mean by these? Say unto them, Thus saith Adonai Elohim, Behold, I will take a stick of yourself, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Yehudah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. And the sticks whereon you write shall be in your hand before their eyes. And say unto them, Thus saith Adonai Elohim, Behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathens, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land.
If he doesn't, we're going to be extinct as a dodo bird. Because we see what these Euro Gentiles and the rest of the nations are planning against us. They planning mass genocide, and there's nothing we can do about it. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir, verse 22. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their Elohim. And Dawid, my servant, shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. And they shall dwell therein, even they and their children and their children's children forever. And my servant Dawid shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them.
I'll make a covenant of peace with them, right? People telling me, say the Jews has returned to Israel. Well, where's the peace? Huh? Go ahead, bro.
It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yes, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that I, Yahweh, do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore.
Okay, my brother, I don't want to go no further than that. The purpose of Yahweh is still the same. To bring his chosen people to his holy land and set up a righteous government of his people, that righteousness might be the stability of all time. And let's go back in the book of Revelation and let's pick up that coming of the Lord. And we're going to see what's going to take place. Now, we already read what Yahweh said he was going to do, right? Okay, let's go to the book of Revelation and pick that up. It's Revelation chapter 18. And I want to pick this up at Revelations 18, and tell you what, let's go into Revelations 19 and pick this up at verse 11. Now remember last week we read that, the week before last, we read that when the sixth seal was opened, we knew that Satan was thrown out of heaven, and that's when the Great Tribulation took place. But heaven opened, didn't it? Didn't it? Okay. Now pick this up in Revelation 11 and verse 1. And the kings of the earth and all the wise men and the rich men and everybody said, hide us, said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sat upon the horse and from the wrath of the Lamb, because the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand, right? We hadn't even went into the first trumpet yet. 7 trumpets and 7 vials has to be poured out before the Messiah return. So this is when Satan is thrown out of heaven and makes himself manifest. And once he makes himself manifest, brother, all the folks that's part of that one world governmental system is going to grab on to him as the Messiah. Go ahead and read, brother.
19 and 11.
19 and 11.
Oh, okay. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself.
Amen.
And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Elohim. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty Elohim. And he had on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings, and Adonai of Adonai. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great Elohim, that you may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beast, and the kings of the earth, and their armies, gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse, and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worship his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone.
Two people was cast in a lake of fire that's going to be created in the Negev, that's right below Judah's land, which was Esau's land, because Esau don't need no land, see. He's lived deliciously. He's taken your place. He's going into captivity under us, according to the scripture, and eventually his whole seed is going to be destroyed. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 21. And the remnant was slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh.
So the two people was thrown into the lake of fire, right? This last beast, this last king of the whole earth, and this false prophet, right? They were thrown into the lake of fire, right? But the remnant, everybody else that followed them, was killed with the sword of him that was upon the horse at the valley of Megiddo, weren't they? Right? At the valley of Armageddon, right? So they died. Wasn't no dying and raising them right back up. They died, and they won't be raised up until after the 1,000-year reign of Christ. You finished that, right, brother?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's go. Go ahead and read.
Revelation chapter 20, verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season.
So the angel came down, a mighty angel, right? Came down and bound up Satan and threw him in that pit, that tunnel they built from England to France, right? And set a seal upon him that he shouldn't deceive the nation during the reign of the Messiah, right? Go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahshua, and for the word of Elohim, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they live and reign with the anointed one 1,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection.
Praise Yah.
Blessed and holy is he that have part in the first resurrection. On such the second death have no power, but they shall be priests of Elohim and of the anointed one, and shall reign with him 1,000 years.
Okay, my brother. Now let's go into Isaiah chapter 24 and pick that up at verse 1. Let's see what brought all these things, some of these things about. Isaiah chapter 24 and verse 1.
Isaiah 24, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, Yahweh maketh the earth empty, and Yahweh maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. And it shall be, as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower.
Hold up, brother. Who blew the ram's horn today?
My brother.
Who?
My brother right there.
I didn't hear.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, brother. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Verse 2. And it shall be, as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of interest, so with the giver of interest to him.
So this thing is going to affect everybody, right? Go ahead, bro.
Yes, sir. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for Yahweh hath spoken this word. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languishes and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws.
Man keep his own law. Right? He said, the land, verse 3, the land shall be utterly empty and utterly spoiled. For Yahweh has spoken this word. Jeremiah and Isaiah told us that America's going to be gone at that time, right? Where are you going to go when America falls? Huh? It's imminent that America is going to be destroyed. And you can go back in history and prove it. Every nation that has had Israel as their slave, Benjamin, Judah, and Levi, as their servants, has been systematically destroyed, haven't it? Huh? The Arabs in 606 BC, right? Now we walk around talking about Assalamu alaikum. See? Then we had the Medes and the Persians that came up, right? Then the Greeks came up, right? Then the Romans came up, right? And all of these nations has done what? Put their hands on God's people. And Yahweh is going to destroy them, and he has showed us that in the past. When we came up out of Egypt, the Egyptians were destroyed. Then the Assyrians raised up their head, and they were destroyed. I'm talking stuff that's in your history book. Right? Okay, go ahead and read, brother. Wait.
It's got Greek letters.
I know it, bro. I know it.
I mean, pay $200 and $300 for a good butt whipping. I said, no, I'm not that foolish. I wouldn't pay nobody to whip my behind. And John
y'all should have been watching this week the things that they showed on the History Channel about the Masonic Order.
Oh, yeah, I saw
and
that.
about those, what they call them people, them black knights that came up through there, which was really a spin-off the forerunner of Ku Klux Klan, right? Okay. Verse 4. The earth mourns and fades away. The world languish and fades away. The hardy people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinances, broken the everlasting covenant. The first thing that Yahweh blessed and sanctified was the Sabbath day. The first thing the Euro-Gentiles changed was the Sabbath day, right? And other folks just don't deal with it. See? Why? Because they worship the adversary, the devil. See, this is why people got so many problems against this book here, because this book testifies against them. So they go in here try to pick out stuff. It don't work. Because history books back this up. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 6. Therefore have the church devoured the earth, they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. The new wine mourneth, the vine languishes, all the merry-hearted do sigh. The mirth of captives ceases, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the heart ceases. They shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up, that no man may come in. There's a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. In the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. When thus it shall be in the midst of the land among the people, there shall be as the shaking of an olive tree, and as the gleaming grapes when the vintage is done. They shall lift up their voice, they shall sing for the majesty of Yahweh, they shall cry aloud from the sea.
And it was 144,000 that sang this song, was a new song. And no one could sing that song but the 144,000 that came from who? From your people. This is the best thing I've heard. This doesn't include anybody else. This is self-inclusion. It only talks about the house of Israel. And that's what folks don't want to deal with. You know why? We don't know who we are. That's why. We don't know who we are. And when we try to give somebody something, you know what we always try to do, man? Every time we go in here and try to deal with this thing here to show that Yahweh chooses what he wants to choose in this earth, you know what they tell me? Oh, man, Yahweh no respect of person. Well, why did one nation of people write the whole book? Yeah. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Isaiah chapter 24, verse 15. Wherefore glorify you, Yahweh, in the fires, even the name of Yahweh Elohim of Israel in the isles of the sea. From the uttermost part of the earth have we heard songs, even glory to the righteous. But I said, my leanness, woe unto me. The treacherous dealers have dealt treacherously. Yea, the treacherous dealers have dealt very treacherously.
Let's go see. Hold your place right there, because we're coming back in Isaiah. Let's go in the book of Revelations again. Let's go in the book of Revelations, Revelations 13, and pick that up at verse 1. Revelation chapter 13 and verse 1. Come, sheepdog.
Yes, sir. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard,
Alexander the Great.
and his feet were as the feet of a bear,
The Medo-Persian Empire, the Russia still called a bear.
and his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
That was Nebuchadnezzar, right, with the Arabs when they came in upon us, right?
And Satan gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
Satan gave all the nations, when we read Revelations 12, Satan, his markings were 7 heads and 10 horns and 10 crowns, right? There they are, right there. All the nations upon the earth. And you know where I found that at? In this book here. See? I don't have to have no addition or something some man wrote last year, especially somebody from some other nation. See? I can go back in history. These Europeans made one mistake. You know what that was? They gave me some education. See? And showed me what was written in history. So, search the history book. Everybody read Macbeth and all that junk. What I care about Macbeth? This is what my thing was. The 7 heads, 10 horns, and 10 crowns, and it's written down through history. And all you got to do is pick up the book, their history books, the ones that they wrote. Pick up the history books that the Africans wrote. Pick up the history books that the Arabs wrote. And them 7 heads and 10 horns and 10 crowns came up on the scene to try to revive the Holy Roman Empire since Rome fell in 476 A.D. Go ahead and read, Steve.
Yes, sir. Verse 3. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wandered after the beast.
Rome fell in 476 A.D., right? And then now, that was one head that was wounded, right? Now, this deadly beast is coming back together, right? But what did the Bible tell us was, that the purpose of this beast was for? To destroy the mighty and the holy people. Look at us. Look at us. You can walk right down the street and talk to 10 different brothers or sisters, and every man got a different song, and every man got a different doctrine, and it ain't nothing about a bunch of arguments that can't prove none of it. Go ahead and read, Steve.
Yes, sir. Verse 4. And they worshiped Satan, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Elohim, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints.
Somebody making war with us. Somebody has us turned against each other. Somebody is making war against us. We claim you're a Gentile. See? Folks used to call him the devil, right? The devil ain't the one that broke in my van. Them Europeans ain't the one that broke in my van out there and stole my TV. See? The devil is anybody, Satan's children. Whoever violates God's law, you're in big trouble, because you're following the ways of the adversary of the devil, right? And this is what this one world order is set up for. It's ran by who? The Illuminati. Look on the back of the dollar. It tells you the Illuminati, the Masonic Order, the Club of Rome, what they call that other thing, Skull and Bones, right? And the Rogue Scholars, right? And the Trilateral Commission. By the way, which Andy Young was a member of at one time. Now check that out. Then once they busted that brother, passing them secrets to them Arabs over there, what did they do? They busted him down. He was ambassador to the United Nations. They busted him down and promised him the mayorship of Atlanta, and didn't he get it? Don't read, brother. See, our politicians, they worship Satan too. They don't care nothing about you. The only time you see these niggas is when time come to vote. Then here they come with little candy and little loudspeakers. I don't need no candy. I need deliverance.
And kiss the babies then. And
Yeah,
hug them, yeah.
kissing on my baby. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 7. And it was given unto him to make war with the
To
saints,
make war with you. Go ahead, brother.
and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations.
And we see this in the making. We see this in the making, but you know what people try to do? People try to disprove all these prophets. You know why? Our people wrote it. That's why they're trying to disprove it. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir, verse 8. And all that dwell upon earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon.
He had two horns like a lamb, right? Now this is another beast, right? First we read about political Babylon, right? Now what we're reading about is ecclesiastical Babylon, the mother of all these whorehouses we got sitting on every corner. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir, verse 12. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed.
Amen.
And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live.
Make an image. Make you an image, right? Make you an image. Not some statue standing out there. Make you an image to this beast, right? Now, we know that they've already blueprinted the genetic code. We know that they are growing ears and fingers and things on the back of rats, right? Well, this is going to be a man. This is going to be an actual man that they're going to give life to. And you mean to tell me that folks ain't going to worship him? Don't read, bro.
Brother, they had all their medical experts saying that, morally, cloning is not right, but it's on the way.
Of course.
Right on the way. And they even had Michael Jordan on ET Entertainment tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying if they clone him, he might not be Michael Jordan, the basketball player, but he could be an accountant or a banker. They were just exaggerating a whole lot. They were saying this thing is on the, what you say, on the wings of the wing?
Right, right. Well, they've already showed, didn't they do Dolly?
Right.
Huh?
But they say she's not perfect.
Why she ain't? She look just like the other one.
Yeah, but they're saying they hadn't really perfected clone that. They don't think it's perfection yet.
They're medical practitioners. They're still practicing.
Mm-hmm.
But see, once Satan gives them this power, then they're going to perfect that. Because Yahweh's word, not because Satan says so, but because Yahweh says so. And like I keep telling y'all, Satan works for Yahweh just like other folks do.
Yeah, he does what Yahweh tells him to do.
What he told him about Job. He said, Satan, have you considered my servant Job? That there's none as righteous as him? He said, I guess so. You done gave him everything you want, and you got your hedge around him. You take your hedge from around him, and I'll make you let him make him curse you to your face. He said, okay, you got him. Just don't kill him.
Right.
Right? He didn't kill him, did he? Okay.
Yeah, they said it's only 3 years off, brother. 3 years away.
Brother, it's only about, what's this, 01? It's only 3 years away before the euro takes over the world. Mm-hmm. And we see it on the money market right now. It's on, and those countries are coming together as fast as they can over there in Europe, aren't they? Okay. Yeah.
They are about to impregnate a woman this March coming up with a clone.
Brother.
So they'll be doing it this March.
Wasn't Hitler doing the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Where do you think they got all this mess? They got a book that was written by the Germans in 1948 called Chemical and Germ Warfare that described the AIDS virus to a T. See? But that AIDS, see, they released that AIDS over there in Africa first, you see, to see how it affected black people. See? We're not Africans. See? They released it the wrong place, and it backfired on them. That's what it's just like that birth control. That birth control backfired simply because them white girls found out that estrogen was making them women fill out, Jack. See? And it backfired on them. All of the things that they come up with, that they put on us, it backfires on them because their people go and grab onto it. And no marvel. Yahweh is still sitting on the throne, and his prophecies are still being fulfilled. Just like he told Abraham, know of a surety that your seed will be a stranger in a land that is not theirs and will serve them, Genesis 15:13, and will serve them and be afflicted for 400 years. The 400 years is coming to an end, right? Haven't we been in servitude and been afflicted ever since we've been in this country? Okay. Know where I found that at? In here. Right. Go on and read, brother.
Verse 15. Of course you know.
Yeah.
Doesn't it go back to where it says that we are peculiar people?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the things that they try to do to us.
Right.
Backfire.
Right.
So we're peculiar generation.
Right. We're his chosen people.
Mm-hmm.
See, he's going to let many of us get slaughtered off. You know why? We ain't serving. We serving the gods of the nation. Did we just read he killed 250 people? Huh? It's going to be about 14, 15,000 as soon as we... Yahweh's killing off niggas out there like mad. You know why? They wouldn't do what he said do. And I mean, this historical thing about that Egyptian thing, I mean, it was written in all the books. Everybody knew about that. The Moabites wrote about it after we fought the Moabites. The Amorites, everybody wrote about it. See? But you know what we go looking for? Something some cracker wrote last week. Yeah. Go on to read, brother.
Verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast.
Listen now. He had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. If you don't worship him as God, you're going to die. Now, ask yourself a question. If you see one of them Gentiles or one of them Arabs or somebody come up to you and kill this, say, you going to bow down to that beast there? You say, no, I ain't going to bow down. Say, pow. And just go right down the line. By the time you get to you, what you think you're going to do? If you ain't ready to give it up, you might as well get out of here. If you ain't ready to give it up, you might as well get out of here. You have to understand one thing. Death is the beginning of new life. See? And if you aren't ready to make a covenant with your Creator, you're in the wrong house, sitting in the wrong seat. Because Yahweh is going to require it of you. I mean, he told us all about the fear for sights and everything that's going to be coming up on us, right? He said thousands are going to fall on one side and 10,000 on the other side. But it won't come near you. Only with your eyes shall you see the reward of the wicked. No weapon formed against you is going to prosper. Why do you think the government has us classified as terrorists? Huh? Because we know the truth. Yeah. Yahweh's always had his servants that knew the truth. And guess who the truth came from? The truth has always came from among our people. The junk that them Europeans trying to practice that they call Christianity, it came from here. Didn't it? What did the Arabs over there do? They took it and switched the twins around. Say, well, see, right here where it said it was Jacob and Esau, it wasn't really these here. The Europeans twisted around. For what reason? What purpose did it serve them? Don't read, brother.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead.
Aren't they perfecting that now? They're already talking about injecting those computer chips, right? Huh? They're always talking about the retina scan and all that stuff. And these people have these things set up in top security places right now to let you know that what the prophets had to say in 96 A.D. and what Daniel had to say in the 600 B.C. is right on the money. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name.
Now, to show you how that will work, if any of y'all know anything about or was living or heard anything back during World War II, they issued stamps. And you couldn't buy sugar, flour, or none of that stuff without those stamps, could you? All right. If they did it back in World War II, don't you know they've got, with the technology they got today, they've got this thing more perfected? There's certain areas in the Pentagon that people can't go to unless they have identified marks. And now they're dealing with that DNA. But see, that DNA is to separate all the other nations that has our blood in it from the other nations. That's what it's for. The people that have of those nations, rather, is to separate them, because if you got, they say, if you got one drop of black blood in there, you ain't pure. That's why they went into that. That's why Satan gave them that DNA thing, and he gave them that atomic energy so they'd have the power to destroy this country, like the prophet said. The prophet said, "I'm going to kindle fires in her city that's going to devour her round about," didn't he? Okay. Don't read, brother. Yeah.
Elder, at the I have a friend that goes to the University of Georgia, and at their dorms, right, to get in, they have to go there and scan the card, and after they scan it, it's a thing. It's like a little bit of thing where they have to put their fingers in and scan that too, and it's kind of like a face, profile come up with, the dorm, to get in there, and nobody else could get in without scanning it and using your your handprint to get inside there.
Brother, Satan is giving these people the technology they need. You know why? To exclude us from everything. That's all it's about. See, we're not members of the club. And our people are going to find that these people that's going to these Christian churches and all these other churches, they're going to find that they ain't members of the club either, because we just read, he's going to call all, small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a name whose names are not written in the Lamb's book of life, slain from the foundation of the earth, to receive a name, number, and mark, right? You already got a Social Security number. What do you think Andy Young got busted for? Passing off Social Security numbers so they can put them in Univac in Rome. In Brussels, rather. And then they went and built that other computer at Luxembourg, didn't he? One received the other information and sorted it, and the other one stored it up, man. Why are the numbers from here? Go and read, man.
Last verse, 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666.
You've had 6 beasts. You've had this man's number 666. The Roman Catholic Church sits on this, the beast, this whore, sits on the 7 hills of Rome. By the time Rome fell, history revealed that the 7 churches that we went and set up among the Euro-Gentiles, they didn't even exist no more, did they? So she set up on those 2, did she? Okay, let's go back in the book of Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 24 and verse 17. If you want to follow that up, go into Revelation 17 and read Revelation 17, and then from there go to Ezekiel 38 and 39 and read about the war of Armageddon. Go ahead and read, brother.
Isaiah chapter 24, verse 17. Fear and the pit and the snare are upon you, O inhabitant of the earth. And it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the field shall fall into the pit. And he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For the windows from on high are open, and the foundations of the earth do shake. The earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a carcass, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall punish the hosts of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth.
All those angels that sinned, remember, it's 4 angels that was bound in the great river Euphrates, right? All those angels that is sinned, he's going to punish those, right? And then the people that are upon the earth, he's going to punish them too, right? The kings of the earth, right? Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir, verse 22. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited.
We're going to see what that fair-haired Euro-Gentile George Bush is going to do then. He on there huffing and puffing about what they're doing over there in Iraq, right? In the no-fly zone, right? And they know that they were the ones that cut off Kuwait from Iraq during World War II, the British in America. They knew that. And Saddam Hussein just wanted his land back because they sent the South Eastern Drilling Company from Texas and drilled slant wells from Kuwait into Iraq and started flooding the earth with that cheap oil. On one condition. They had to spend 25% of their revenue on treasury bonds. Treasury notes, rather. And we don't have any treasury notes in this. That's the money. This junk we got now is nothing. It was treasury note. It said, pay to the bearer on demand $5 in silver. Pay to the bearer on demand $20 in silver, right? It affects their treasury, right? This here, when this go down, what they do? Burn it up and print some more. They don't know what they got it back with? Behind. That's what they got it back with. Power. If you don't take this dollar, we're going to come over there and we're going to tear you up, and your money better not get too close to ours either. Check that out. Go on to read, brother.
Last verse 23. Then the moon shall be confounded, and the sun ashamed, when Yahweh of hosts shall reign in Mount Sion and in Jerusalem, and before his ancients gloriously.
Verse 3.
Therefore shall the strong people glorify you. The city of the terrible nations shall fear you. Ezekiel 25, verse 3. For you have been a strength to the poor, a strength to the needy in his distress, a refuge from the storm, a shelter from the heat, when the blast of the terrible ones is as a storm against the wall. You shall bring down the noise of strangers as the heat in a dry place, even the heat with the shadow of a cloud. The branch of the terrible one shall be brought low.
Praise Yah.
And in this mountain shall Yahweh of hosts make unto all people a feast of fat things, a feast of wines on the leaves, of fat things full of marrow, of wines on the leaves, well refined.
Amen.
And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations.
The curse devoured the whole, we just read that. Therefore, in Isaiah 24, therefore have the curse devoured the whole earth, right? But once he set up this kingdom here, he's going to destroy that veil that's over the people, right? Then men is going to see eye to eye. Why? Because Yahshua, HaMashiach, is going to be sitting on the throne. He's going to give orders to David. David's going to pass down those orders to the governors that's going to be scattered over the earth to run this earth, as Zechariah verified, and they're going to do it. And he said in Zechariah 14 chapter, if they don't keep up the Feast of Tabernacles, they ain't going to get no rain. He said, don't come up the next year, I'm going to put the plague on them. Yeah, you go, God. Go on and read, brother.
Yes, sir, verse 8. He will swallow up death in victory, and Adonai Elohim will wipe away tears from off all faces, and the rebuke of his people shall he take away from off all the earth. For Yahweh hath spoken it.
Amen.
And it shall be said in that day, Lo, this is our God. We have waited for him, and he will save us. This is Yahweh. We have waited for him. We will be glad and rejoice in his salvation.
Praise Yah.
For in this mountain shall the hand of Yahweh rest, and Moab shall be trodden down under him, even as straw is trodden down for the dung heap.
Moab. Let's look at Moab. Moab is the Palestinians, right? One of Abraham's nephew Lot's boy. Both of them really are over there now, Moab and Ammon. But Moab is in the land right now, right? He said he's going to be trying under him, didn't he? But what did he say about Esau that's in there? Say he's going into captivity, didn't he? See, that's what I like about my Creator. That's what I like about Yahweh. He don't leave nothing for you to surmise. He don't leave nothing for you to sit up and meditate about. He said, prove all things. Take this book and go to the public library. That's all you got to do. Then folks say, well, white man wrote history. Right, he wrote it for his children to come. Right. And when you go back, you can go back and the kings that this book here talked about, before they even came up on earth, you can go and pick up them kings and read just what they was going to do. And they did just that. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 11. And he shall spread forth his hands in the midst of them, as he that swimmeth spreadeth forth his hands to swim, and he shall bring down their pride together with the spoils of their hands. And the fortress of the high fort of your wall shall he bring down, lay low, and bring to the ground, even to the dust. In that day shall this song be sung in the land of Yehuda. We have a strong city, salvation will Elohim appoint for walls and bulwarks. Open you the gate, that the righteous nation which keep the truth may enter in. You will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusteth in you. Trust you in Yahweh forever, for in the Lord Yahweh is everlasting strength. For he bringeth down them that dwell on high. The lofty city he left it low. He layeth it low even to the ground. He bringeth it even to the dust. The foot shall tread it down, even the feet of the poor and the steps of the needy.
Praise Yah.
The way of the just is uprightness. You, most upright, doth weigh the path of the just. Yea, in the way of your judgments, O Yahweh, have we waited for you. The desire of our soul is to your name and to the remembrance of you. With my soul have I desired you in the night. Yes, with my spirit within me will I seek you early. For when your judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness.
Praise Yah.
Let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of Yahweh.
Now, it said, let favor be showed to the wicked, and they will not learn righteousness, right? 10 years after Messiah was resurrected from the dead, the angel of Yahweh came to Peter and told him to say, hey, go down there to Joppa, right? And you go down there to Cornelius. He's seen an angel of the Lord, and he's expecting you. You go down there and you tell him ways by which he shall be saved, right? Then he had already raised up Saul. Saul was well educated. He was educated by the finest rabbinical teacher in Jerusalem, Gamaliel. And Paul, he raised up Saul and sent Saul down there to teach them brothers, right? Because he was dealing with another nation of people. He sent Saul down there and he told them just what they had to do. So you got to come through us, right? They ain't got that set up that they have. We go to them. All the religions they practice, we go to them, don't we? Favor was shown to them, but they was told in the 2nd chapter of Romans. For when you are Gentiles who have not the law, do by nature the things contained in the law, these having not the law are law unto themselves. So they told us, well, you don't have to keep no law. We ain't going to be a law to ourselves and nobody else. We got our own law. Here it is, the Constitution of the United States. And they got the judicial system so snarled. All over the world it's like that. Judicial systems are breaking down. You know why? They get lawyers. They go in and find loopholes in it. Ain't no loopholes in God's law. None. He gave you laws, statutes, and judgments that would govern anything that would come up in your life. It didn't have no lawyers to sit down and try to dig it out, did he? Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 11. Yahweh, when your hand is lifted up, they will not see, but they shall see and be ashamed for their envy at the people.
You see what he said? Yahweh, when your hand is lifted up, the nations ain't going to see it because they're not going to be expecting it, right? But they shall see, right? And they're going to be ashamed of themselves because the envy they're going to have against Yahweh's people. Here's some slaves that they done washed our dirty linen for 400 years all over the earth, right? Now they're doing it by satellite, right? And then they're going to have to come down and bow down to you in order to survive. But see, it's never been in us. It's never been in us to deal treacherously the way that they do. It's never been in us to hate each other to hate other nations the way that they hate us. See, back in the late 40s and early 50s, what they did was they raised up these brothers from over in this country, the Judites, who didn't know who they were. They waved them up and told them, say, well, the white man is the devil. Wanted us to hate the white man, right? Well, what about the Hispanic just taking the job? Huh? What about the Africans that come over here can't stand you? Huh? What about the folks over there in India that's come over here to setting up businesses all in our neighborhood because we too stupid to come together and do it? Huh? Huh? Why don't we do it? Because Yahweh said, I've set every man's hand against his brother's hand. Didn't you say that? Look. Come, she, brother.
Yes, sir. Last part, 11. Yes, the fire of your enemies shall devour them. Verse 12. Yahweh, you will ordain peace for us, for you also have wrought all our works in us.
Hallelujah.
O Yahweh, our Elohim, other lords besides you have had dominion over us, but by you only will we make mention of your name.
Praise Yahweh.
They are dead, they shall not live. They are deceased, they shall not rise. Therefore have you visited and destroyed them and made all their memory to perish. You have increased the nation, O Yahweh. You have increased the nation. You are glorified. You have removed it far unto all the ends of the earth. Yahweh, in trouble have they visited you. They poured out a prayer when your chastening was upon them.
Right. Now they want to pray from the heart. The other time they stand up and just say a whole lot of words because everybody look, oh man, it sounds so good, right? But does it come from the heart or does it come from the lips? Read, brother. Like Scripture said, they love the chief seats. Like to be walked down the street and be called Reverend. There's Reverend so-and-so. Go to all these conferences and everything, right? Right. Right. And Reverend John over there, right. Got all these folks' money. And got Brother Willie's wife stuck up in the hotel where they're having the conference at. We know it. We know what goes on at those conferences. And guess what? The church members pay for all of that fornication and adultery and all that other junk. What's that? Oh. I guess we're going to dance on. Disco ball, Jack. Yeah, okay. Go on and read, brother.
Verse, Ezekiel chapter 26, verse 17. Like as a woman with child that draws near the time of her delivery is in pain and cries out in her pain, so have we been in your sight, O Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
We have been with child. We have been in pain. We have, as it were, brought forth wind. We have not wrought any deliverance in the earth, neither have the inhabitants of the world fallen.
This is why Yahweh is training you now to bring about deliverance in the earth. That's what it's for. When we leave here and get into the wilderness, man, we're talking about maybe 40, 50 million people being in the wilderness. There's got to be somebody to tell the people what the deal is. Because we know what the prophet said. In all the land, 2 parts is going to be cut off and die. See? In other words, I'm going to kill 2/3 of y'all. But the 3rd part, I'm going to bring through the fire. And I'm going to refine you as silver is refined, but I'm going to try you as gold is being tried. And I'm going to rule over you with my fury poured out. That's what it's going to take. You know why? We are peculiar people. We are stiff-necked. We are hard-hearted, right? We don't want to know the truth. No, we want to know what makes us feel good. What makes us think we know something. Yeah, that's what got us over here slaves. Go on and read, brother.
Yes, sir, verse 19. Your dead men shall live, together with my dead body shall they arise. Awake and sing, you that dwell in dust, for your dew is as the dew of earth, and earth shall cast out the dead. Brother, that put that resurrection, that flying off the heaven thing, kind of knocks it down. Huh?
Every time you go to a funeral, preachers stand up there and say, well, no, he's a good fella. Nigga ain't never been to church. But his family put a lot of money in church, right? And good members, mother of the church, deacons and everything. And the preacher sat up there and give a good eulogy about this nut, and everybody in church say, that brother there need to be tarred and feathered. They should have been got rid of it. They should have slung that brother up in space without a spaceship or a suit. Get him away from folks. We know that. But the church preacher tell that lie because he's getting that money. Preacher tell that lie and then say, he's in heaven now. And you looking at him laying there. I know what it's
I
all
baptize him and I baptize them and all that.
It's pomp and circumstance.
Oh, yeah.
It's show. That's what it's all about. Then they have them long, drawn-out funerals and everything. First to have a wake. Scripture tell us, don't eat no food to sacrifice to the dead, right? So they have a wake. Everybody sit down and eat the food to sacrifice to the dead. Then we all go to the graveyard, right? Everybody be walking by, putting a hand on the casket. Everybody touch the casket is unclean, right? Right? Right.
Need some more food.
Right.
They're making yourself unclean by persons that you never even knew walking on the grave.
Of course. Of course. But see, we don't deal with these things because, see, we don't have any culture. And we don't have any culture because the people that we follow don't have any culture. What's the culture of the United States? Warmongering. That's what their culture is. They're a jumper. They've jumped on everybody. Name somebody they haven't jumped on. Huh? They came over here and murdered off the Indians and took it from the Indians, right? Then they got them some slaves, right? Now we love them. Then we go off into a whole lot of other things, right? We not knowing history. We don't understand that the Africans, the Arabs, the Europeans, all them folks was in, and the people over there in India, all them people, the Shemites, all them people was in on the slave trade, weren't they? History backs it up. Now we got brothers right here talking about Assalamu alaikum. No, our brothers got a new term now. They don't use that no more unless they're around, brothers that practice the same craft. And that's what it is, craft. What they say now is this: Shalom alaikum. Check that out. And then brother gonna tell me, well, we go back and speak the original Hebrew. Ain't no original Hebrew. Go back in the book of Daniel and see what happened when our people went back to the land. Huh? They had mixed and mingled that Arabic with Hebrew, right?
Right.
It was polluted right then.
Even in the book of, what's that, Ezra?
Yeah.
They had those mixed children and start speaking the language of those other people.
Right. Right. Had to make the priests get rid of all them strange women they had. Because Yahweh told us, don't marry, don't make no covenants with the inhabitants of the land. A marriage is a covenant, right? He said, don't take your sons. Don't take their sons into your family. Don't give your sons into their family. Don't take your daughters, right? But what do? You walk down the street, man, brother, be hanging on right after the civil rights movement, during the civil rights movement. Here, we going through this thing here trying to be somebody, right? And we look over white folks behind us, and Edomites behind the scenes putting in the money and putting in the strings, right? And then here comes some brother talking about, hey, blue-eyed soul sister. See, when I came up, when I was a young man, we called each other, hey, soul folks. You had to be black to have soul. During the civil rights movement, we gave our soul to the white man. Now we give it to anybody who wants it. Anybody who wants it. I tell you what, Walk around this city and you'll find brothers in here practicing religions that came from every nation upon the face of the earth. I don't know about them Asians over there, though, because brothers know about that dragon thing. But they'll deal with them Korean women. Look how many brothers came back from Korea with Korean wives. Yeah. Go on and read, brother.
I was going to say, Elder, I noticed the big thing now is everybody's wearing Japanese letters on their hands.
Sure.
And don't nobody know what it means.
Having the foggiest idea. I asked one brother last week, I said, man, what's that junk you got across your head there? It's Japanese. I said, I know what it is. What does it say? What does it say? I don't know. Saw a brother with Hebrew letters hanging around his neck. This brother said, what's that? Oh, it's a Jewish hide. I said, what does it mean? I don't know, it's just a hide. Right. What's that cross you got hanging around your neck? This is right. It's the symbol of death. That's what it is. Back in the days of the Romans, the Greeks were really the one that started that stuff. But when the Romans came in, brother, when you walked into the city of Jerusalem, they had a hill outside of Jerusalem you had to pass by called the Place of the Skull. Who do you think they had hanging up there? They didn't have no Romans hanging up there. When they took the Messiah up on the hill, it was a whole hill full of us up there. When they built the Appian Way, they went up to the Arc de Triomphe, which they built for Titus for destroying our people, man. I mean, it was the glorious thing we was done away with. When they was building the Appian Way, they'd worked so far, and they'd cut down the trees as they was going through there, and they'd nail brothers to them trees. This is the way they nailed us to Messiah. They'd nail their brothers to them trees all up and down the Appian Way and bringing a fresh crew.
Got tired of it.
Man, the Romans said, read Josephus, man. Josephus said the Romans just got tired of killing. They killed so many of us. When they invaded the city at Passover, they killed 1.5 million of us, man. 1.5 million. Now they're going to tell me, we love everybody. You damn right you do. Don't read, man.
Aaron was telling me the other morning, I went in, we stopped at the service station getting gas, and he saw my beard. What's with this? You Buddha? I said, no, I'm Judah.
No.
Oh, you? I said, I'm a Jew. And I said, the only thing that is a Jew look like me. Ain't no white Jews.
Right. When they went and picked up the Palasha over there to Ethiopia back in 1995 when the war broke out in Mogadishu. See, black folks don't know where they come from. See, them Euro Gentiles, they know. When the governments know. When the war broke out in Mogadishu, Ethiopia, what did they do? They started airlifting black folks out of Ethiopia, putting them in Israel. If we came from Saudi Arabia, why didn't they put us there? If we came from Africa, why didn't they put us there? See? And what does Palasha mean? Indian resident. All the Ashanti, the Bantu, and the Limbo people. All those are our people. And when we look at them on TV, we can see it. There was a distinct difference between us and the Africans. See? The only people that we resemble out of the Africans were the Ethiopians. Don't we still resemble them today? Now we understand why when Moses went to the land of Midian, they thought he was an Egyptian.
You say, take Christ, take the child Christ and take him down to Egypt.
Take him down in Egypt and hide him down there.
To Herod.
This is why they thought Paul was an Ethiopian, an Egyptian. But see, we don't know. We too busy trying to find ourselves and not really look. See, we like that grapevine thing and that controversy thing. See, but the scripture says, prove all things.
Remember you made that statement, you really coined that phrase, brother. You say, Israel can't find their history because their history is openly hidden in the Bible.
Right, and people don't want to deal with the Bible. Look, just say, the
Openly
Bible
hidden.
will run you crazy. The Bible will run you crazy. White man wrote the Bible. He changed this, and he changed that. He didn't change this. Right? He didn't change We were told that we would be in a land, in captivity in a land that our fathers did not know of. When you go back in history, you'll find out that Solomon and the kings that came after did trade with the whole known world, didn't he? All the nations upon the earth. America hadn't been discovered by Euro-Gentiles. Well, the Indians over here. But as far as the power structure of Europe was concerned, they had the power brokers, the capitalists. They hadn't discovered America at that time. And truly, here we are. And just like he said, your sons and your daughters are going to be taken. We're going to read all this. So, we could go on, let's finish up.
Yes, sir. Ezekiel chapter 26, verse 20. Come, my people, enter you into your chambers and shut your doors about you. Hide yourself, as it were, for a little moment until the indignation be overpassed. For behold, Yahweh cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood and shall no more cover her slain. In that day, Yahweh with his sore and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea.
The dragon that is in the sea is this one world order that's coming up. That's what it is. We know that in the 2nd chapter of Daniel, the Euro-Gentile was given 2,520 years to rule. And we can go back and put our hand on the first Euro-Gentile in 539 BC, who was who? Darius. During the Medo-Persian Empire, wasn't it?
But you know, that's a great thing. We got this legacy left when Muslims and Christians come up and say, brother, this European is ruling because Yahweh has put him in position, and the Bible backs it up.
Of course it does.
539 BC, first European came in rule.
He was given the longest rule, 25. Didn't Noah say that Yahweh shall enlarge Japheth? Look at how much land he controlled and how long he's given to rule the earth. That's all we have to do. Go back into what Yahweh had to say, and that'll verify everything. But see, people don't want to deal with that. King James wrote to keep his facts right. Go on and read, man.
Yes, sir, verse 2. In that day sing you unto her a vineyard of red wine. I, Yahweh, do keep it. I will water it every moment. Lest any hurt it, I will keep it night and day.
Praise Yah.
Fury is not in me. Who would set the briars and thorns against me in battle? I would go through them. I would burn them together. Or let him take hold of my strength, that he may make peace with me, and he shall make peace with me.
Amen.
He shall cause them that come of Jacob to take root. Israel shall blossom and bud and fill the face of the world with fruit.
Israel shall blossom and bud and fill the face of the whole world with fruit, right? Holy place. Let's go in Revelations 21, I think it is. Let's go into Revelation 21, holy place. I think that's where I want to go. Yeah, Revelation 21 and verse 9. Let's pick this up after the war that takes place after the war of Armageddon. See, he said he was going to save Gog and Magog, right? He's going to save them Europeans, right? The Europeans and Asians. And then after the 1,000 years, when Satan is loosed out of that bottomless pit, they're going to do what? He's going to go forth to the four corners of the earth to gather these nations together again, right? Now let's go and read and see what's going to happen here. Revelation 21, and pick that up at verse 9.
And there came unto me one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials full of the 7 last plagues, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show you the bride, the Lamb's wife.
Wait a minute, the Christian church say they the Lamb's wife. Okay, let's see.
Verse 10. And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from Elohim, having the glory of Elohim, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gate 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel.
We got 7 seas upon the earth, right? Where's the gate? Where's their gate? Go on and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 13. On the east, 3 gates. On the north, 3 gates. On the south, 3 gates. And on the west, 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city, and the gates thereof, and the wall thereof. And the city lieth 4 square, and the length is as large as the breadth.
25 miles, either way you look at it. 25 miles, either way you look at it. 25 miles high, 25 miles the length, and 25 miles the breadth. Go ahead and read, brother.
And he measured the city with the reed 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. And he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is, of the angels. And the building of the wall of it was of jasper, and the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass. And the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third chalcedony, the fourth an emerald, the fifth sardonyx, the sixth sardius, the seventh crystallite, the eighth beryl, the ninth topaz, the 10th chrysoprasus, the 11th jacinth, the 12th amethyst. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every several gate was of 1 pearl, and the street of the city was pure gold, as it were transparent glass. And I saw no temple therein, for Adonai Elohim Almighty and the Lamb are the temple of it. And the city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon, to shine in it, for the glory of Elohim did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof. And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it.
Shall do what? Walk in the light of it, right? If you don't go in my gate, you can't come in. They're going to walk in the light of this city, right? Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. And the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. And the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, but there shall be no night there. And they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it. And there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination or maketh a lie.
Okay, my brother, I don't want to go no further than that. As we see, the treacherous dealers, just like Isaiah said, the treacherous dealers had dealt very treacherously. But see, Yahweh let them know, your treachery and all that junk ain't going to work. I got something for you. I'm going to save my people, and my people are going to, they're going to be, their days are going to be forever, even forever and ever and ever. You mean forever and ever? Forever, ever? Let's go back in, where were we at? In Isaiah, huh?
It's amazing how you got all the gates and the nation's going to walk in the glory. I'm looking for Muhammad's gate, Buddha's gate. I'm looking for all the Christian gates. I don't see nothing there.
You haven't got it.
None of that.
You haven't got it. Righteousness is going to be the stability of the time. The scripture says, the stranger that dwelled among you, as you do, so shall he do. The stranger that dwell among you, they keep Passover, first let all his males be circumcised. See? Paul had told you were a Gentile, said, well, look, when that problem came up about the circumcision, Paul didn't make no decision about it. He said, well, wait, let me go up to Jerusalem up here and talk to the council up here. He went up there and talked to the apostles and told them, there's no bother with that. Let them be convinced in their own heart. Just tell them to keep some things that really upset these Jews here. You see? Say they got Moses that's read in the synagogue every Sabbath day. Let them hear Moses. And we read in Isaiah where it says, no stranger uncircumcised in heart or in flesh shall enter into the sanctuary of all the strangers that dwell among the children of Israel. Didn't it say that? Okay. Let's go back to Isaiah chapter, what was it, 28? 27.
It says 27 and verse 7. Have he smitten him as he smote those that smote him? Or is he slain according to the slaughter of them that are slain by him? In measure, when it shooteth forth, you will debate with it. He stabbed his rough wind in the day of the east wind.
Right, because he said the wages of sin singular is death. So he stays his rough wind in the day of the east wind. In other words, he gives us a chance to redeem ourselves. Why? Because of his love for you, Israel. He said, I'm married to you. Go ahead and read. What you think happened when Moses, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel went up on the mountains in Exodus 24 chapter? I think it's 24. What do you think happened? Wasn't there a marriage performed up there? That's why he said, I'm married to you. And I'm going to take you one of a city and two of a town. I'm going to bring you back to the land of Israel. White folks say, no, we're going to heaven. Muslims say, go be martyred and you go to heaven and have sex 77 times a day. Wow, Jack, that's deep there. Yeah, go on and read, man.
Verse 9.
That's deep, bro. That's really deep, baby. Yeah. I mean, that's all I got to live for, man. Yeah, I just going. If that's all I got to live for, then, brother, I don't even want to die. Just let me live forever.
Right.
You know, folks like to use things for pressure. You know, to make you jump through hoops and all that stuff. You know, if you're going to deal with the 77 times a day, you be jumping through hoops all the time. Yeah, go ahead, King.
Reading here from Revelation 11, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it said, and there was given me a reed like unto a rod. And the angel stood saying, rise and measure the temple of Elohim, and the altar and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Europeans. So the Gentiles, they have the Gentiles.
Right.
So
in out of court. They've always been in out of court. According to the law, only the men of Israel was allowed in the sanctuary under the penalty of death. Paul told the Gentiles, say, Israel was given the covenants, the promise, the service, the giving of the law. Everything was given to Israel. You got to come to us, right? Now we go to this. Now we go to all the nations, right? The way that the temple was built, you had the outer wall, then you had the court of the stranger, right? Then you had on the sacred wall in the court of the women. Then you had the court of the men of Israel. Then you had the court of the priests. And it's going to be set up the same way. It's going to be set up the same way. Ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing changed. Yahweh haven't changed his mind about anything. Everything he told us from day one took place, hasn't it? Okay. Now it either has taken place or it's in the process of taking place. Go ahead and read.
Yes, sir, verse 9. By this, therefore, shall the iniquity of Yaakov be purged, and this is all the fruit to take away his sin.
Everything that's being done is the fruit of the captivity, the nations ruling over us, and all this stuff here, the confusion that's among us. It's what? It's designed to take away your sin. Let you look around and see where something's wrong. You know? Why all these nations here got all these countries and governmental systems and everything set up, and black folks ain't, I won't say black folks, and the slaves in this country here ain't got a decent bank account. And we know it. We know what's going on. We ain't no fools. We look around. We see who runs the banking system. We see who controls. Look what happened. Look what happened a few years ago. The bankers decided, well, what we're going to do, we're going to get with these grocers and everything. What we're going to do, we're going to shut down these farmers. Got too many farmers. That money scared it out too well. Now we got Arthur Daniels Midland, right? Kroger's, right? A&P, right? They control all the farm, all the food. Now, you notice how these people are moving these things further and further out of our neighborhood? You know why? They're getting ready to shut us down. Look what they did on the expressway and they showed y'all, man. They went up there and put walls on the side of the expressway talking about noise barriers. A few years ago, when they were showing these different housing projects and so forth that we lived in, right at the end of the program, this Gentile say, either one of these places can be turned into a minimum security detention center for less than $18,000. Now, why was that said? Why do you think they're closing up these schools and so forth and not opening them up? They are they're getting ready to turn the prison system over to private corporation.
Right.
Free labor. That's slavery. And we don't see it. We're busy walking around here thinking we know something. And Yahweh's already told us, I'm going to have to come and open the prison houses to let my people out. Go right down the street over there on Memorial Drive and see the ratio of us that's in prison. Huh? They stop more black folks between Glenwood and Hambrick over there. I mean, not Hambrick, Mountain Industrial Boulevard. Go down there. You see police lights flashing everywhere 24/7, 365. And they're steadily loading up these prisons. Go over there on Rice Street and look. Go downtown and look. They're talking about, well, y'all the one committing the crime. We learned them crimes from y'all. See? We learned them crimes because y'all put us in a position. You wouldn't give us no job to take care of our family. You want to separate the family, put my woman on welfare, and she got to put me out. You ain't going to give me no job. You want me to go down to Mickey D's and work. How can I take care of my family working in Mickey D's? And now you're talking about, well, this is what the fast food industry is talking about now. In order for you to have a job at one of our restaurants, you're going to have at least a high school education.
Oh, yeah.
They profiling our kids in the school. You know it. Them are kids that they can't really get control of. What they doing? They put them out of school 3 days this week, a day next week. Calling the parents. Got the parents running back and forth, right? I don't know, we're going to have to send him to an attorney to school and everything, right? No, you ain't. Put your fist in his mouth. Ain't that what they did to you? Go on and read, man.
Yes, sir.
I wasn't in that group, though. They put the head through the window. Now, this is no lie. And let the window down on it, and all they left was your fan, and they tore it up.
Brother, we used to go to the principal's office, right? And he'd tell you, get a chair like that, he'd tell you, bend over and catch that chair. And you bend over and catch that chair, you better not move that chair, Jack. And they had a piece of conveyor belt about this long and about that thick, and with a handle cut about that wide, and they would tear your butt up, Jack. But guess what? They got respect. The kids learned, didn't they? Now, they can't control the school because they dumbed down the schools with this damn stupid civil rights thing.
Kept everybody.
Right.
Brought them along.
Right. Yahweh told us, I'm going to put you in captivity under a cruel Lord, but don't you learn his ways. We went out there and died, got dogs sick on us. Niggas got knocked down with water hoses and everything, right? To integrate, right? Now we just like it. Now we just like it. Now we can't control our kids. We can't even control our house because all this woman got to do, 911, and you in the streets. Now in jail. Why? Because of the things that Yahweh said was going to take place among our people. We're going to read all this stuff. Nothing has happened to us that hasn't been prophesied. That's why I love this book. Because I'm in my early 60s, and I've lived long enough and experienced enough things to see a lot of things take place, watch different changes come through our people, and now we worst off. Now, you want to know the truth? I wish we was living back in the time when I was a kid. At least we went and worked for Mr. Charlie, and we came home, and we partied and spent our money in our neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods grew, right? Now we go work for at least we were owning then. Now we go work for Mr. Charlie. Now we sharecrop.
That's
See?
all we're doing.
Right. And the same thing is happening now that was happening when they were sharecropping. At the end of your paycheck, Charlie got it all. And you wonder what happened to my money.
Brother, they done got so bad with that profiling, brother. They sent 3 Europeans out on my job, on my machine, talking about making a perfect tool for a biscuit can, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the machinery is older than I am. Just harassing people. They even got a work study, brother, where they send this European with a camera.
Mm-hmm.
He sits all day and watch you work.
Sure.
He watch you work, watch you start up,
Right.
watch when you go to the restroom, when you take a break.
Right. And guess what? Pretty soon, it's going to be just like Ford, General Motors, and all the rest of them. They're going to upgrade, and look how many people are going to be in the streets.
Right, I'm going to be one of them, brother. I know that. They get out their technology.
Now I got this sister called 911. He eating up my church's chicken. That's just how bad.
Oh yeah, okay. I have to think about what you be saying sometimes, brother. Yeah, okay. I got it. You know, I'm a little slow when it comes down to them things like that, you know. But I can understand, brother. I can understand. Let's go ahead and finish up, Steve. Oh, he finished reading that, didn't he? Okay, we got to go back to Numbers chapter 16 and pick that up at verse 35 again. Numbers chapter 16 and verse 35. Numbers chapter 16 and verse 35. You're reading about Korah and what all happened to them folks there, right?
Right.
Okay, now we read that Korah and the folks that were standing around, the 3 other brothers and their families, 1, 2, 3, 4 brothers. 3 brothers, yeah, 4. On was one of them. Korah and those 4 brothers that were standing around, we read what happened, right? Earth opened up and burned them folks up, right? Now let's go pick up the rest of these traders. Pick this up at verse 36, verse 35. Exodus 16, verse 35. Numbers, I'm sorry, brother. Numbers chapter 16 and brother Yosef, verse 35.
And there came out a fire from Yahweh and consumed the 250 men that offered incense.
Now, see what happened there? Killed off the whole lot of them, didn't he? Huh? But understand now, they offered incense to their Creator. Now, understand that. Let's go and read about that. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 36. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, that he take up the censers out of the burning, and scatter you the fire yonder, for they are hallowed.
They are hallowed because they was offered to the true and living God. Regardless to what the sin was done, they were still hallowed because they offered them to the God, but they died, didn't they? Okay? See, once Yahweh set some holy things in place, it's just like in the church. Yahweh set holy things in place. Folks come here and do great jobs, and then pretty soon they're gone. The jobs still go on. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 38. The censers of these sinners against their own souls, let them make them broad plates for a covering of the altar.
Mm-hmm.
For they offered them before Yahweh. Therefore they are hallowed. And they shall be a sign unto the children of Israel.
You see why Yahweh saved those good works and so forth? So they'll be for a sign to let you know that what Yahweh set in place, He's going to continue. As a sign, not to the believers, but as a sign to those who believe not. Go ahead and read, brother.
Numbers 16, verse 39. And Eleazar the priest took the brazen censers, wherewith they that were burnt had offered, and they were made broad plates for a covering of the altar, to be a memorial unto the children of Israel, that no stranger, which is not of the seed of Aaron, come near to offer incense before Yahweh, that he be not as Korah and as his company, as Yahweh said to him by the hand of Moshe. But on the morrow, all the congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moshe and against Aaron, saying, You have killed the people of Yahweh.
Now you see what happened? You see what happened? Moses said, now if Yahweh do a new thing now, if all these men died the death of common men now, and then Yahweh, he didn't have them do this. But if he do a new thing, and the ground open up, and swallow them up and close them up, right? Then you know that Yahweh did this thing, right? And not only did he do that, see, that's what I like about the Creator, brother. Once he sets you in a position to do something, sparks are going to fly. All you got to do is do what you supposed to do. Now, when you don't do what you supposed to do, then other folks gonna suffer for it. But the sparks is going to fly. Go ahead and read, brother.
And it came to pass, when the congregation was gathered against Moshe and against Aaron, they looked toward the tabernacle of the congregation, and behold, the cloud covered it, and the glory of Yahweh appeared. And Moshe and Aaron came before the tabernacle of the congregation. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying, Get you up from among this congregation, that I may consume them as in a moment. And they fell upon their faces. And Moshe said unto Aaron, Take a censer, and put fire therein from off the altar, and put on incense, and go quickly unto the congregation, and make an atonement for them. For there is wrath going out from Yahweh, the plague is begun.
When stuff started coming, what you have to do is that you got to know what to do. And the only way you want to know what to do is that the Spirit of the Lord whispered in your ear. Go ahead and read, brother.
And Aaron took as Moshe commanded, and ran into the midst of the congregation, and behold, the plague was begun among the people, and he put on incense, and made an atonement for the people. And he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stayed. Now they that died in the plague were 14,700, beside them that died about the matter of Korah. And Aaron returned unto Moshe unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the plague was stayed.
There it is again. Someone has always got to stand in the breach. Always got to stand in the breach. The works we do are holy to the Messiah, whose spirit that we have as it pertains to the truth, and are done decently and in order. When we do the works in rebellion against the Spirit, the works are still holy, and many remain because they were offered to the Almighty. Yet one dies spiritually in their rebellion, and their ways become a sign to those not who fear not, but to those who fear. Deuteronomy chapter 4. And let's pick that up in verse 1, my brother. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse
1. Verse 1. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 1. Now therefore hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, for to do them, that you may live, and go in, and possess the land which Yahweh Elohim of your fathers giveth you. You shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that you may keep the commandments of Yahweh your Elohim which I command you. Your eyes have seen what Yahweh did because of Baal Peor. For all the men that followed Baal Peor, Yahweh your Elohim have destroyed them from among you.
Y'all remember when he called Balaam to come and curse them people, and this brother and that Moabite worshiped Baal Peor, right? And he went and called Balaam to come and curse Israel, right? Balaam, angel was going to kill him in the beginning, but he told him, no, go ahead with it. You know why? He's going to kill him later on. And we're going to read that that Balaam was slain when Moses under the hand of Joshua. See, Yahweh's enemies, he lets you know who they are so you can keep track of them. So you keep track of them, then you do what he want to do to them. That way you'll know, don't you do that. That is no-no. Papa will get you for that. Our slavery over here don't tell us that, see. Us not knowing who we are and fishing around claiming we everybody else, see. that doesn't work any good for us. Yahweh has to show us who we are and show us what's going to happen when we don't do what he's supposed to do. And you can look out in the streets there and you see what he's doing. See? But you got to have the Spirit in order to see these things. Why? Because it's not flesh and blood we rest with. It's powers and principalities and spiritual wickedness in exceedingly high places. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 4. But you that did cleave unto Yahweh, your Elohim, are alive, every one of you this day. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yahweh, my Elohim, commanded me, that you should do so in the land whither you go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
No wonder they call us a bunch of fools. They say black folks ain't got no sense. See? He told us in verse 6, say, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of all nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. Right, what do they call us today? Niggers. Go on and read, man.
Verse 7. For what nation is there so great?
And to show you that, it was a dude talking about Black History Month coming up, and he used it on TV. He used it on TV. He said he wanted to say Negroes, but he ended up saying niggers, a big monumental mistake. Now, white folks put him in office. Brothers won't vote for him no more. Go on and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 7. For what nation is there so great who have Elohim so near unto them as Yahweh our Elohim is in all things that we call upon him for?
Mm-hmm.
And what nation is there so great that have statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day? Only take heed to yourself and keep your soul diligently, lest you forget the things which your eyes have seen, and lest they depart from your heart all the days of your life, but teach them your sons and your sons' sons, especially the day that you stood before Yahweh your Elohim in Horeb, when Yahweh said unto me, gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. And you came near and stood under the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire unto the midst of heaven with darkness, clouds, and thick darkness. And Yahweh spoke unto you out of the midst of the fire. You heard the voice of the words, but saw no similitude, only you heard a voice. And he declared unto you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even 10 commandments. And he wrote them upon 2 tables of stone. And Yahweh commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and judgments, that you might do them in the land whither you go over to possess it.
Now, he wrote those on tables of stone, right? But the new covenant said, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I'm going to make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah, not according to the covenant I made with their fathers when I brought them out of the land of Egypt, because they disregarded my covenant, and I disregarded them. But this is the covenant I'm going to make with the house of Israel after those days. I'm going to write my laws in their heart, and in their minds will I write them. And I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. This is why we study the law. This is why we've been in the law book for the last 3 months. And still haven't covered all the law. You skipped around in that, right? Give you something to read on your own. But for your information, we do print a categorized copy of the law and put it out there on the rack. So all you got to do is open it up and go to the category that it covers and tell the brother, say, no, brother, I can't deal with that. Go ahead and read it.
Verse 15. Take you therefore good heed unto yourselves, for you saw no manner of similitude on the day that Yahweh spoke unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire, lest you corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flies in the air, the likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth.
And you look on the back of cards right now, the first symbol that the Christians have, you see it on there, that little fish, don't you? No, fertility. That's what it's all about. They say don't make no similitude of a man or a woman, right? Who was Diana of the Ephesians? She was Astaroth to the Africans, right? Then the Euro Gentiles got her, she become Diana of the Ephesians, right? Now she's married. They took the statue that the Africans had of Nimrod and his mother, and now the Pope got it, saying it's Mary and Jesus. Go on and read, brother.
It is. No, I saw a program. In fact, I think it was the congregation that did a program on it. Tamar and some sister Tamar and others. They were showing that if you look at the Pope's hash, it has shaped like a
his
fish.
hat.
Yeah, his hat.
Oh, I thought you said his head.
No, his hat. No, his hat. His headgear is shaped like the fish.
Yeah, I thought you said his head, brother. I was going to tell you, brother. I think I need to pray for you. You said his hat. Well,
His
it
hat.
is.
Yeah.
It is. And guess what? It got 666s in it.
Really?
Yeah, they filmed that. Chicago Sun-Times filmed that in the top of his head. Got 666s in the top of that hat. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 19. At least you lift up your eyes unto heaven, and when you see the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the host of heaven, should be driven to worship them and serve them, which Yahweh your Elohim have divided unto all nations.
Okay, let's look at that. We know that Satan is the angel of the sun, right? And we know when you look on the back of that dollar, anytime you see that eye, it has sun rays coming from it, doesn't it? Doesn't it? They worship the sun. They changed the Sabbath day from Saturday to Sunday because they're sun worshipers, right? And the signs, the holidays that they keep, they're sun signs. Christmas is the winter solstice. Easter is the spring equinox, right? And look, he gave them the host of heaven. They got all of the planets are named after their gods, and all the days of the week are named after their gods. Why? Because Yahweh gave them things to worship. That's why. But with you, it's not so. Go ahead and read.
You know, when I was a young man, I used to go to the movies, and they had Orion Productions.
Of course, they got it today.
Out of nothing.
They got it today.
O-R-I-O-N.
Right,
Orion.
they got it today. You see it quite often. And when I was coming up, brother, they had this white boy, man, this long white hair, named Thor, who they named Thursday after. And he had this hammer. And you thought John Henry was a monster with his hammer. Boy, Thor would take that hammer and throw it around the world and tear up something and come back and he'd catch it. And then fly off on his horse with the wings to Pegasus. Yeah. They got all their gods right here with us today. And guess who's carrying this mess on? The Christians. Yahweh said, don't let these names of these gods be heard coming out your mouth. The men in worship. We know that. We can't even have a decent conversation with somebody without mentioning one of these gods. Go on and read.
Verse 20. But Yahweh hath taken you and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, even out of Egypt, to be unto him a people of inheritance, as you are this day.
Verse 23.
Take heed unto yourselves, lest you forget the covenant of Yahweh your Elohim, which he made with you, and make you a graven image, all the likeness of anything which Yahweh your Elohim have forbidden you. For Yahweh your Elohim is a consuming fire, even a jealous God.
He said, take heed to yourself, lest you forget the covenant of Yahweh your Elohim, which he made with you, and make you a graven image of the likeness of anything, right, which Yahweh your Elohim has forbidden you. Now, we know the Christians got all kind of signs, right? And if y'all notice, every time somebody say they see the Virgin Mary, it's a white person. Have y'all noticed that? Now, the Arabs over there, they got a building they call a Kaaba. They got a black stone in it. You know where they say it come from? It came down from the goddess Jupiter. I heard a brother tell me, he said, man, Oh, man, over there, man, when you go on Ramadan, all people be going around it one way and all the birds be flying one way. That's all the noise them folks be making. Don't be no damn birds around there. Don't give me that junk. Just to make it sound like everything's so holy. We read about 12 tribes. Tell me, well, it wasn't 12 tribes. He created 13 tribes, and the third tribe is on the moon. Cracker said, the eagle has landed. One giant step, one small step for man, one giant step for mankind. I looked my brother up. I said, man, what happened to the tribe? Oh, well, they knew they was coming, so they relocated another. I saw you, they were scared, huh? Oh, man, see, you just unbeliever, man. Every Tuesday afternoon, you can see the mothership. Ezekiel saw the mothership. I say, well, where is the chariot of horses of fire that's put in them? I'd say he knew what that chariot was, but he knew what horses were. Where are the horses of fire that was put in that bad boy? Cut. Go on and read something.
I was watching a program yesterday, and they said after they did their research, the United States trying to be the first to mount themselves off into the moon, he said they staged that whole thing. They never made it to the moon.
If they wouldn't have?
He said the Russians won't even attempt to go to the moon because of the radiation.
Let me tell you something. If they wouldn't have, Russia was their enemy at that time. They was in a space race. If they wouldn't have, Russia would have told them. The rocks that they brought back, brother, see, there's a lot of talk going on. See, this is why I say prove all things. The rocks that they brought back from the moon, they haven't even found the metallics on Earth that came from those rocks. See, folks talk.
It was one gentleman, I saw that show, it was one European, he was contesting.
Everybody contested in the beginning, brother. But when they brought them rocks and things back and they hadn't found none of that, nothing similar to that on Earth, that took care of it.
I think myself, I think they actually went up there.
If they wouldn't have, Russia was in a race for space with America. If they wouldn't have, Russia would have told everybody in the world about it.
Yeah.
I can believe that.
Who?
That we know about.
No, they ain't went back no more, brother, but they got some stuff up there rolling around on Mars.
Yeah, they say the moon ain't nothing. Let's give it a hop.
Do they mount up to heaven? Up there and bring it back down? Okay. They're trying to get away from here, brother, because they know, like Khrushchev told Eisenhower, we're going to bury you. It's given us by prophecy. They know what it is, so they're trying to get away from here. If they can control space, they can dominate this earth, man. They can make you do anything they want to do and tear up stuff and be 25 million miles away. Go on and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 25. When you shall beget children and children's children, and you shall have remained long in the land, and shall corrupt yourselves, and make a graven image, or the likeness of anything, and shall do evil in the sight of Yahweh your Elohim, to provoke him to anger, I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that you shall soon utterly perish from off the land whereunto you go over Jordan to possess it. You shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed. And Yahweh shall scatter you among the nations, and you shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither Yahweh shall lead you. And there you shall serve Elohim, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. But if from there you shall seek Yahweh your Elohim, you shall find him, if you seek him with all your heart.
Listen
and with
what it
all
says.
your soul.
If you seek him with all your heart and your soul. People have problems in the scripture because they don't seek him with their heart and their soul. You know what they're seeking? Knowledge and understanding. Knowledge and understanding puffs up. Wisdom is the principal thing. And a wise man will seek his creator so his creator can lead him to this knowledge and understanding. So he'll be wise enough to know this is the hand of God, and if you don't know your past, you tend to repeat it. Aren't we repeating the Egyptian captivity? Pharaoh has already said, come on, let us deal wisely with these people, because they're beginning to outnumber us, right? We see it. We see it. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 30. When you are in tribulation, and all these things will come upon you, even in the latter days, if you turn to Yahweh your Elohim, and shall be obedient unto his voice, for Yahweh your Elohim is a merciful God. He will not forsake you, neither destroy you, nor forget the covenant of your fathers which he swore unto them.
If he said when you are in tribulation. Now we know that we're going to have 3.5 years of great tribulation. Daniel told you, the angel Gabriel told Daniel, say, 70 weeks are determined upon your people, right? Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to destroy and to rebuild Jerusalem to the Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks, right? We went and picked up, last time we came down through here, we went in the book of Nehemiah and Ezra and picked up when the exact year that the commandment went forth and put the Messiah on the scene for baptism in 26 AD, didn't we? Didn't we? See, so if we read this book for what it is and turn to the Lord our God, we'll understand one thing. We are in the latter days. We are in the latter days. We can look at our people now, man. Black folks ain't talking about nothing. Only thing they're talking about is my house, my car, what I feel, and what I think. That's all. We ain't talking about nothing. We ain't talking about coming together. Okay, let's get together and try to find out what's going on. Now we got brothers trying to revive the Black Panther Party. For what? What for? The Black Panther Party had one goal when I was in the party. I don't get late on the chain. It had one goal, and that's what lured brothers to that party. We wanted our own neighborhood to ourselves, our own hospitals, our own schools, everything we wanted to ourselves, our own jobs for our kids when we still. The other nations do it. See? But then they mess around, Bobby Seals messed around and hooked up with the weathermen. When he hooked up with the weathermen, and some of you brothers from Chicago know what I'm talking about. They robbed the National Guard Army in Chicago, and brothers were standing out there with carbines, man, 30 caliber carbines, government issue. And nobody even examined them or asked a word. You know why? They're getting ready to rip us off then. See? And right now, they've already been talking about how the United States government is allowing military personnel to steal high-tech, high-powered weaponry and sell it on the market. They got folks out here running around in these woods on these Gentiles' farms training themselves, haven't they? Don't you know they know ain't nobody coming in here? Huh? Who you think they doing that against, huh? When the revolution comes, niggas gonna be somewhere with chicken hanging out their mouth. Go on and read, brother.
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 32. For ask now of the days that are past, which were before you, since the day that Elohim created man upon the earth, and ask from the one side of heaven unto the other, whether there have been any such thing as this great thing is, or have been heard like it. Did ever people hear the voice of Elohim speaking out of the midst of the fire as you have heard and lived? Or have Elohim attempted to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation by temptations, by signs, and by wonders, and by war, and by a mighty hand, and by a stretched out arm, and by great terrors, according to all that Yahweh your Elohim did for you in Egypt before your eyes? Unto you it was shown that you might know that Yahweh, he is Elohim. There is none else beside him. Out of heaven he made you to hear his voice, that he might instruct you. And upon earth he showed you his great fire, and you heard his words out of the midst of the fire. And because he loved your fathers, therefore he chose their seed after them, and brought you out in his sight with his mighty power out of Egypt, to drive out nations from before you, greater and mightier than you are, to bring you in, to give you their land for an inheritance as it is this day. Know therefore this day and consider it in your heart that Yahweh, he is Elohim in heaven above and upon earth beneath. There is none else. You shall keep therefore his statutes and his commandments, which I command you this day, that it may go well with you and with your children after you, and that you may prolong your days upon the earth, which Yahweh your Elohim giveth you forever.
Okay, my brother, let's skip over to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Most of this is basically a reiteration of what took place. Let's go into chapter 28 and pick this up at verse 1.
We're giving up our guns for Janet Jackson.
Janet Jackson picked, right? Right.
So we don't have nothing to fight with them.
Well, brother, with the guns, with the amount of guns we got, we ain't got nothing to fight with. All the white folks got to do is start a war and let it go for about 30 minutes. And everything we have will be spent.
You can go to the gun at night show.
We be throwing the guns at them and throwing the rocks and everything, right? Man, them Europeans can move around satellites, man, and disintegrate folks. And we know it. We have no power. Didn't the Messiah, didn't Yahweh say, when their power is gone, then shall the end come? We haven't got the power. We haven't even got any financial power now because we're too diversified.
But it shows, Elder, basically we are a peaceful people. We just don't believe in hard, guns and a lot of violent weapons.
Man,
more in that young group we got.
Man, folks make us hard, man, by making life hard for us, man. That's what it is.
But we don't bother anybody.
Of course not.
But each other.
Of course not. They showed that doing that slavery thing, man. Black folks are really a peaceful people. We didn't do nothing but we enjoyed ourselves. We worked and enjoyed ourselves. Even after slavery, man, well, we're in captivity now. What did we do? We stayed among ourselves. We fought among each other. You had fights and so forth. All the nations have that. But basically, we didn't go out threatening other people and so forth and so on. We abided by ourselves, and we were a peaceful people. The Euro Gentiles used to come into our neighborhood to hear Billy Eckstein and Sarah Vaughan and Doris Day and all those folks, right? Even when I was with the Wings Over Jordan Choir, man, we toured 8 foreign countries and 36 states. That's when we was working with white folks. And every place we went, man, we go in them stadiums, man, and have 10, 15,000 people in them stadiums. Wasn't black folks nowhere. When we got to dealing with black folks, we starved to death. You know why? Black folks was getting them gospels then, going up to heaven. And white folks wanted to hear those songs of deliverance. Deep River, my home is over Jordan. Deep River, I want to cross over in the campground. Trying to get ready to try on my long white robe and all those stuff, And all the songs that we sang were songs of deliverance of the people, and Yahweh made them. People loved those songs, man. We didn't sing no songs about Africa. We didn't sing no songs about Arabia. And the Euro Gentile did not teach us this book for us to sing the whole history of the children of Israel. See, what had happened was Yahweh has always had his people here, and he's always passed down that legacy from generation to generation for your sake. Because the last generation is here right here now. We the end of it. We the end of it. Go back and figure up the years that you Gentiles were given the years, and you see. We right at the tail end of it. Go back and figure and find out when they brought the first indentured servants over here, and you can see we're right at the tail end of it. By the things that's going on among our people today, you can see we're right at the end of it. Chapter 28, pick that up at verse 1.
And it shall come to pass, if you shall hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command you this day, that Yahweh your Elohim will set you on high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come on you and overtake you, if you shall hearken unto the voice of Yahweh your Elohim. Blessed shall you be in the city, and blessed shall you be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of your body, and the fruit of your ground, and the fruit of your cattle, the increase of your kind, and the flocks of your sheep. Blessed shall be your basket and your store. Blessed shall you be when you come in, and blessed shall you be when you go out. Yahweh shall cause your enemies that rise up against you to be smitten before your face. They shall come out against you one way and flee before you 7 ways.
Okay, we know all about the good things. We know all about the good things. Well, we didn't get that. Let's go and read about the bad things and see whether we got that. Go down to verse 15.
Yes, sir. But it shall come to pass, if you will not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command you this day, that all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you. Cursed shall you be in the city, and cursed shall you be in the field.
Verse 32.
Yes, sir. Your sons and your daughters shall be given unto another people, and your eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. And there shall be no might in your hand.
Verse 36.
The Lord, Yahweh shall send you and your king, which you shall set over you, unto a nation which neither you nor your fathers have known, and there shall you serve other Elohims, wood and stone. And you shall become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations whither Yahweh shall lead you. You shall carry much seed out into the field, and shall gather but little in, for the locusts shall consume it.
Verse 41.
You shall beget sons and daughters, but you shall not enjoy them, but they shall go into captivity.
43.
The stranger that is within you shall get up above you very high, and you shall come down very low. He shall lend to you, and you shall not lend to him. He shall be the head, and you shall be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon you, and shall pursue you, and overtake you, till you be destroyed, because you hearken not unto the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded you. And they shall be upon you for a sign and for a wonder, and upon your seed forever. Because you serve not Yahweh your Elohim with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things, therefore shall you serve your enemies, which Yahweh shall send against you in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon your neck until he have destroyed you. Yahweh shall bring a nation against you from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies. A nation whose tongue you shall not understand. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young.
Verse 62.
And you shall be left few in number, whereas you were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because you would not obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim. And it shall come to pass that as Yahweh rejoice over you to do you good and to multiply you, so Yahweh will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught. And you shall be plucked from off the land whither you go up to possess it. And Yahweh shall scatter you among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there you shall serve other Elohims, which neither you nor your fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations shall you find no ease, neither shall the sole of your foot have rest. But Yahweh shall give you there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. And your life shall hang in doubt before you, and you shall have fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of your life. In the morning you should say, with Elohim it were even. And at even you should say, with Elohim it were morning. For the fear of your heart wherewith you shall fear, and for the sight of your eyes which you shall see. And Yahweh shall bring you into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spoke unto you. You shall see it no more again, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for slaves, and no man shall buy you.
He brought us into Egypt, which means a land of liberty, a land of bondage. Didn't he bring us over here in ships? Mm-hmm. So he brought us into Egypt again with ships, right? And we haven't seen the land anymore. And here we have been sold to our enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. And nowadays people don't even want to hire us. And let's go into verse 31 and conclude this verse 31 and verse 14.
Chapter 31?
Yeah, chapter 31, Deuteronomy 31 and verse 14.
Deuteronomy 31, verse 14. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, Behold, your days approach that you must die. Call Yeshua and present yourselves in the tabernacle of the congregation, that I may give him a charge. And Moshe and Yeshua went and presented themselves in the tabernacle of the congregation.
Now we know that this brother's name was Hoshea. Moshe, the lawgiver, changed his name to Yeshua, which means salvation of Yahweh, right? Now isn't it kind of strange that the Messiah's name was Yeshua and he will be Redeemer, Deliverer, Lawgiver, right? Isn't that kind of strange, huh? This brother's name had the same name of the brother that would take over from Moses as the deliverer. And Moses, the scripture told us that Yahweh said, "See, I made you a god to Pharaoh," right? Isn't it odd that that Yeshua was made a god to our people? Yeah, go ahead and read, brother.
Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 15. And Elohim appeared in the tabernacle in a pillar of a cloud, and the pillar of the cloud stood over against the door of the tabernacle. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, Behold, you shall sleep with your fathers, and this people will rise up and go a-whoring after the Elohims of the strangers of the land, whither they go to be among them, and will forsake me and break my covenant which I have made with them.
Mm-hmm.
Then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them, and I will hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured, and many evils and troubles shall befall them, so that they will say in that day, Are not these evils come upon us, because our Elohim is not among us? And I will surely hide my face in that day for all the evils which they shall wrought, and that they are turned unto other Elohim.
Okay, my brother, chapter 33 and verse 27.
Verse 27. The eternal Elohim is your refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. And he shall thrust out the enemy from before you, and shall say, Destroy them. Israel then shall dwell in safety alone. The fountain of Jacob shall be upon a land of corn and wine. Also his heavens shall drop down dew.
In the first month. Remember he told us he's going to cause showers of blessing to come down in the first month, in the month of Abib, once he set up this kingdom. Go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir, verse 29. Happy are you, O Israel. Who is like unto you, O people saved by Yahweh, the shield of your help, and who is the sword of your excellency? And your enemies shall be found liars unto you, and you shall tread upon their high places. And Moshe went up from the plains of Moab unto the mountain of Nebo, to the top of Pisgah, that is over against Jericho. And Yahweh showed him all the land of Gilead unto Dan, and all Naphtali, and the land of Ephraim, and Manasseh, and all the land of Judah, unto the utmost sea, and the south, and the plain of the valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees, unto Zoar. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, This is the land which I swore unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob, saying, I will give it unto your seed. I have caused you to see it with your eyes, but you shall not go over there. So Moshe, the servant of Yahweh, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of Yahweh.
Okay, my brother, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Verse 6. And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab, over against Beth Peor, but no man knoweth of his grave unto this day. And Moshe was 120 years old when he died. His eye was not dim, nor his natural force abated. And the children of Israel wept for Moshe in the plain of Moab. Verse 8. And the children of Israel wept for Moshe in the plains of Moab 30 days. So the days of weeping and mourning for Moshe were ended. And Yeshua, the son of Nun, was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moshe had laid his hands upon him.
Isn't that what the apostles had to do in the New Testament? In the beginning, the Spirit was just falling on people, right? Then it got down to the place to where they had to lay their hands on them, right? Okay, go ahead, brother.
And the children of Israel hearkened unto him, and did as Yahweh commanded Moshe. Verse 10. And there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moshe, whom Yahweh knew face to face, in all the signs and wonders which Yahweh sent him to do in the land of Ham to Pharaoh and to all his servants and to all his land. And in all that mighty hand and in all the great terror which Moshe showed in the sight of all Israel.
Amen and amen. Once again, a great man has been taken from among the children of Israel that had suffered their manners for 40 whole years. But it was Yahweh's choosing that he did that so that he could bring his people into that good land. But he told his servant Moses, you can't go over there. But then, on the Mount of Transfiguration, Moses got a better blessing than going into the land, didn't he? Because he was seen on the Mount of Transfiguration with Elijah and the Messiah, right? And so great was the sight that the holy apostles didn't know what to do about it. So let's make a tabernacle for all of y'all, not even knowing what they were saying. But that's all I'm going to do today, and I'd like to apologize for not...
Hallelujah.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to apologize for not having any information out there, but our copier's been down, and they came and fixed it, and somebody used it, and it jammed up on them. Shut down and jammed up on them. We got paper everywhere, and I took the paper out last night, and it was going to cost me $147 for them to come out here, plus $47 every 15 minutes that they was out here. So I decided we'd wait until the second day of the week. That way I can get it fixed free. That's all I'm going to do. Do we have any announcements?